So imagine this, you're slinging spells and blasting enemies in a fantasy epic, sneaking through feudal Japan like your Naruto running from his family, or surviving the raw grit of medieval Bohemia. RPGs are leveling up in 2025 and the lineup is insane. From epic sprawling fantasy lands to exploring the weird world of outer space, these games are bringing the heat with next level worlds, gameplay, and stories. Stick around because by the end of this video, you're gonna know exactly which ones are worth your hype and your money. Starting off the list, February is gonna be an absolutely stacked month for RPG games. First up, we'll be getting Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 at the beginning of February. If you haven't played the first game, you're missing out on one of the most immersive RPG games of the last decade. And this game is set to be even more amazing than the last. The story will take place directly after the original game's ending, and that differs from most game sequels. The story is set to be darker and more cinematic than the original. Player choices impacting the story, which means there will be multiple endings based on your choices in this game. Also, they have a new reputation system. Henry will have reputations that change how NPCs react to him. For example, if you do a lot of thievery in the game, NPCs will react accordingly, and you might just land in jail. This game is also set in 15th century Bohemia. In terms of that map, it's going to be twice the size of the first game. It will have two separate open world maps, the Bohemian Paradise and Kuttenberg City. Kuttenberg is described as one of the world's biggest hubs of trade and civilization at the time, and the game boasts over 80 hours of gameplay. As far as new features and improvements from the last game, there's an enhanced combat system with tighter controls, more responsive action, and easier to master mechanics. The combat system in the last one was very hard for some players to grasp, and it discouraged people from continuing the game with its high skill gap. There will also be greater weapon variety, and each weapon will have unique fighting styles, advantages, and disadvantages. Also included, there will be new ranged weapon options such as crossbows and other firearms that will be available in the game. The game will also have fleshed out survival mechanics, which means eating and sleeping regularly will have a heavier focus. On top of that, eating and sleeping will also have consequences. For example, if Henry is found sleeping where he shouldn't be, he'll be woken up before finishing his rest. And Henry can also be attacked and ambushed while he's sleeping, depending on where he is. As far as the alchemy system goes, it's going to be expanded and play an important role in gameplay. The devs say that the players will be doing a lot of gathering and crafting of a variety of potions, including the saving potion from the first game, which you needed to manually save without sleeping or exiting the game. The game is confirmed to have 3 post-launch expansions and possibly other smaller content post-launch, so there's going to be plenty to do. The game releases February 4th on PC, Xbox Series X, and PS5. Next up, we have Avowed, which is made by the creators of my favorite game of all time, Fallout New Vegas, and is responsible for its spiritual successor, The Outer Worlds, which we'll talk about shortly. This will be the studio's first foray into a fantasy RPG akin to something like Skyrim. As far as features goes, it has a non-voice protagonist similar to The Outer Worlds in Fallout New Vegas, allowing players to have more freedom of choice with their dialogue. Speaking of dialogue, the choices in your dialogue have consequences and impacts on the main story as well as side stories, which means there'll probably be multiple endings for this game as well. Your choices also impact how NPCs view your character, similar to Fallout New Vegas's reputation system. As far as weapons goes, any weapon can be used, and there are combinations of weapons with magic and spells to allow for different playstyles. The weapons will have some good variety with your typical fantasy weapons like axes, swords, knives, etc., along with some not so fantasy weapons like hand cannons, pistols. You could literally have a blicky in this game, guys. Enemy variations will force changes in playstyles, and some enemies will be immune to certain spells or more susceptible to certain spells or attacks. So you have enemies that are immune to cold damage or weak to fire and things like that. The story will more than likely be the strongest aspect of the game, in which Obsidian is known for great storytelling and world building, as we can see with the Outer Worlds in Fallout New Vegas. Environments in this game will also be varied as it takes place within the Pillars of Eternity universe. The world will be very dynamic, and locations will reflect how the soul plague that everyone is afraid of in the game has affected certain areas. The game releases February 18th on PC and Xbox Series X, and also will be available on Game Pass day 1. Next up, we have Assassin's Creed Shadows, which was unfortunately delayed once again to March 20th. This will be a semi-return to form for the series, with it bringing together modern and OG Assassin's Creed gameplay. Naoe, the female ninja, will have the OG Assassin's Creed stealth-based gameplay, while Yasuke, the samurai, will have modern Assassin's Creed RPG combat-centric gameplay. This also finally gives us our dream setting for Assassin's Creed, which is feudal Japan. Both the protagonists are drastically different, and I can already hear the Worko broke jokes now. Yasuke was a real person in the history of feudal Japan, and if you're crying about him being in the game, you're racist. The combat will be different from previous entries. The new stealth combat features dynamic lighting that affects enemy vision. Lights can be turned off or taken out for increased stealth, and one-hit kill assassinations will be returning in this game. The modern Assassin's Creed combat will be enhanced with different combat stances. You can utilize different combat stances for different enemy types. Enemies will also use different stances based on your weapons and stance as well. Enemies will also have breakable armor to give the player a greater advantage, opening them up for a fatal blow. The game will also have dynamic seasons that affect gameplay and the environment, and on top of that, environment destruction will also be introduced. You'll be able to slash through vegetation and break through paper or wood walls or doors and interiors. The story will focus on Naoe and Yasuke starting as opposing forces. Yasuke as a retainer for Oda Nobunaga, and Naoe as an assassin for the opposing Aiga clan. As Nobunaga invades the Aiga, Yasuke and Naoe band together to bring Japan into a new era. This game releases on March 20th of this year after 2 delays, and it will be releasing on PC, Xbox Series X, and PS5. Our next 2 games, we're not so sure what day they'll be coming out, but they'll be coming out in 2025 nonetheless. First up is The Outer Worlds 2. This game is believed to have entered pre-production in 2019 around the time of its predecessor's release. As far as features, it'll be set in a new star system with a new crew, separate from the first game. It's expected to be twice the size of the first game, which was about 12 hours long. The gameplay trailer that we got at the 2024 Game Awards gave us a good peek at what we'll be getting. There will be a lot of new weapons and new environments present, which was the focus of the gameplay trailer. Combat will also introduce cover-to-cover shooting, similar to Mass Effect and Gears of War, which was not present in the first game. And while these things aren't confirmed, these are features that fans like me are hoping for. We're hoping that there will be more companions to choose from, which was one of the best parts of the original game. The companions were a standout of the Outer Worlds' gameplay, and there will hopefully be more RPG choice-based dialogue and story options like the first game. More details will be likely to come out as the year progresses. This game releases in 2025 after Obsidian's other upcoming RPG Avowed releases in February on PC and Xbox Series X, and it'll be available on Game Pass day 1. And finally, we have Fable 4 or Fable. We don't have much info on this one at the moment, but here are some rumors and leaks of what we could expect. The combat is said to be similar to The Witcher 3 with weapon variety and magic. This is according to the alpha build. It's expected to feature an extensive character creator akin to the old titles and may incorporate dynamic seasons that change the gameplay. The morality system may also return from previous games, which was teased by the trailer having the good player character and the hero who made all the wrong choices. The choices in this game could be more nuanced instead of just good versus evil like in previous games. The story is also not fully certain, but it does take place in Albion like the previous titles, and the Heroes Guild seems to make a return based on the crest of the hero's sword in the teaser trailer. While none of these features have been confirmed, more will likely be revealed throughout the year. Based on the previous Fable games, this game has a lot to live up to. If the developers can bring the best parts of the previous games to this game, it will be absolutely amazing. Personally, I've only played Fable 3 and some of Fable 1, and I enjoyed that game a lot, so I'm excited to see more. This game also releases in 2025. Alright, so let's be real. 2025 is stacked with RPG goodness. Whether you're hyped to wield magic in a literal blicky in Avowed, explore the gritty realism of medieval Bohemia in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, or finally live your ninja samurai dreams in Assassin's Creed Shadows, there's so much to be excited about. And don't even get me started on the potential of the Outer Worlds 2 or the return of Fable. So which one has you clearing your schedule? Let me know down in the comments below, and if this video got you hyped, drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.